Hey crew, it's Coach Josh and welcome to your nutrition program. So let's talk about your calendars first. So as you can see, each day you have your breakfast, your lunch, your snack, and your dinner. Now throughout the entire week, I want you to notice that some of the lunches are actually leftovers from the night before. So when you see the same recipe 2 days in a row, I want you to know, is it leftovers or am I cooking again? Now, at the end of each week, you're going to get a shopping list. At the start of this week, you have a shopping list right under this intro. That's going to help figure out what you need for this week if you stick to all of the recipes. Now, speaking of the recipes, the way I have it set up is I want you, at least when we're first starting, to eat until you're full. If you're eating the majority of your food from the recipes that I've given you, it makes it really hard for you to overeat, and it's already going to be quite a bit of a change for you. And remember, with this nutrition plan, I'm trying to make it as simple for you guys as possible. The recipes are not that crazy to follow, right? Not a ton of ingredients, not a ton of steps, not a ton of time. If you want to put your spice on it, if you want to put a little extra into it, great. But during the week, maybe not. Maybe you want to stick to the simple plan, and then on the weekends, you spice it up a little bit. Great. So speaking of the work week, let's talk snacks. Now, you have 3 snacks each week, and it's going to be different each week. And I have one snack that is pretty much you make it today and you're going to eat it today. Then I have a snack that maybe you'll make 2 or 3 days worth. And then there's a snack like protein balls where you can do an entire work week. So the protein balls, let's just use that as an example, you're going to get 20 balls out of a batch. I would recommend you throw 4 of them in a Ziploc bag, have 5 bags, and then Monday through Friday this week, great. You have protein balls as your snack when you're at work, so it's not too difficult for you to prep ahead of time. But then whether it's, apple cake, brownies, ice cream, smoothie, whatever snack that you choose from there, that's great for the days you don't work. Now, again, you guys can go ahead if you're like, I don't like any of these snacks, but I did like the one from last week. Great, you can go back and you can use that recipe. If you scoot ahead and you see in week 4, I really want to try this ice cream, great, try it. It's just to make it as simple as possible for you guys. So let's talk about 5 tips that are really going to help you hone in on making this perfect for you. And the first tip is knowing what you can substitute in for other things. So let's use tuna as an example. If you don't want to cook tuna steak, if you don't want to deal with sashimi tuna, but pouched tuna works great for you, fantastic. Let's swap that out. What's cool with pouched tuna too is it's convenient. It's just in a pouch. You don't really have to cook it much. And some pouched tunas, they have different flavors, different seasonings. If you're putting that on, rice or in a salad or whatever, you're going to get a really good flavor out of it, and it's going to help you stick to your diet. We don't have to change everything. This is just ideas, right? These are just ideas. When it comes to swapping out beef, maybe you don't want to have beef, but you'd rather have pork, I'm fine with that. I don't see beef and chicken as the same though, okay? Chicken typically has less fat to it, and beef has more fat to it, so the calorie count's going to be a little different. So if it says beef, red meat, let's say, fine, you can swap it out for a different cut of beef. Just try to keep it lean, right? Ribeye steak isn't very lean, but sirloin is. 93.7 hamburger is. You could swap it out for pork. I'm totally fine with that. If, let's say, it says turkey and you want to switch it out for chicken, great, go for it. Again, this is meant to make it easy, flexible, okay? I do not want to change your whole world in one shot and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do it. No, that's not the point, okay? But I will say the more you stick to these recipes, the more likely you are to benefit, the more likely you are to see the results that you're looking for. We kind of covered it, but tip number 2 is plan ahead. Because you can look ahead, I want you to know at least the night before what you're trying to eat the next day. Especially some of these recipes, you need to use a crock pot or a slow cooker. You need to know, oh, I need to start that in the morning. But if tomorrow comes around and you realize at dinner, oh shoot, I was supposed to do a slow cooker fajita tonight, well, I guess it's pizza night. No, you got to look ahead. But if you do make that mistake, again, the best thing about this program, look ahead, look back. Hey, I have the ingredients from the shopping list Josh gave me for Friday's dinner. I'm just going to cook Friday's dinner tonight. I'll remember to do my fajitas tomorrow, and then I'll just move it over. Great. You always have the ingredients to at least cook something for dinner. Now, third tip, let's talk about salads. People love salads, and I'm totally fine with that. Salads and diet and nutrition, they tend to go hand in hand. But I need you to understand that your salad, if all you're going to do is put greens on it, carrots, peppers, things like that, there's really not a whole lot of stuff in it. It's going to make you full, which great, cool. But in an hour or two, you're going to get hit with brain fog. You're going to be tired. You're going to start craving things that are sweet because that salad didn't really have a whole lot of energy to it. So some ways you can make your salad a little bit better is use a tuna pouch, right? Good, we got your protein. Maybe throw a hard-boiled egg on there. Great, we got more fats. Maybe you're the type that likes to cook rice or quinoa and you throw a little bit of that on your salad. Maybe instead of the quinoa, you put some clementine oranges. Great. Get some carbs in there, get some fats in there, get some proteins in there so that it actually gives you some energy so you're not in that brain fog an hour from now and you say, oh, this diet isn't working for me. No, the salad that you made just wasn't working for you. Now, another really cool substitute is substituting your water for bone broth. And I'm talking for your rice, and I'm talking for risotto, anything like that. It may seem weird at first, but it's a really easy way to get a little extra salt into your diet, which if you're eating mostly these recipes, your salt intake is actually pretty low. So salting foods can be very important for you. It's going to actually help you prevent cramping. It's going to help keep you satiated because again, these foods are so salt-free that you're not getting enough salt in. So add some salt wherever you want. And with your rice, with quinoa, if you switch it out for a bone broth, you're also going to get a little extra protein. That's also going to help satisfy your hunger a little bit more. A little bit of extra protein isn't going to kill you. And again, that salt can be a really good thing. And instead of just having bland rice, let's say you have your salad and you have rice on the side, it's not just bland. It's actually something you look forward to eating. That's great. And again, you can always have an apple on the side of your salad too if you don't want to throw oranges or cranberries or whatever in there. Probably the most important advice I can give to you is get a meat thermometer so that when you're cooking all of this meat, you give yourself the best chance for the recipe to be good. You would hate to make a chicken recipe and you overcook the chicken, it's dry, it's gross, then you have this whatever, and you're like, oh, this kind of sucks. And then you think to yourself, oh, that recipe doesn't work for me. No, if you cook with a meat thermometer, know the temperatures that meat cooks at so that it still is flavorful. And season your meat. Don't just put chicken on and think, oh yeah, this is going to be fine. No, throw some spices on it, okay? Whatever floats your fancy, right? So for me, rule of thumb, chicken is 165, pork is 165, ground red meat, ground beef is also 165. But now steak, it's kind of up to your discretion. For me, I personally do about 128 and I'll pull the steak out, but I'm checking in multiple places, and this goes for all the other foods as well. I'm checking in multiple places and finding the coldest spot. The coldest spot is 125, 128, 130, depending upon what I'm cooking. And then I pull it off and let it rest. And again, when it comes to fish, you do not want to cook salmon, tuna over about 145 degrees. Boy, does it get gummy, okay? It gets rubbery, and that does not make for a good recipe, especially if you're kind of jumping off the edge a little bit and trying something new, okay? And if you find a recipe that you really like, nothing is stopping you from having it multiple times a week and maybe switching it out. For me, I've found myself when I get really busy, I do just the basics. I can put like broccoli, rice, and beef in a bowl, but I change the seasonings up. Maybe I cook the rice and bone broth this day. Maybe I don't the next day, just so it's a different flavor because maybe I don't have that much time. And I stick to it and that helps me. You might find a recipe you're like, I love this stuffed pepper, and I'm gonna cook it, for lunch 3 days in a row. Fantastic, okay? Again, it's a rough draft, this calendar. You can move the recipes around all you want. The nice thing about it though is it at least brings some structure to your week, okay? And you and I are gonna work on this back and forth. You're gonna have plenty of questions. And again, I hope this video helps answer some of those questions so that you can be successful right out of the gate. Once again, this is Coach Josh with Garage Gang Gyms, and I know you're gonna love some of these recipes. Even some of the ones you look at and you say, huh?